You're watching Bloomberg UTV.
Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Artwise. You've so far heard from all our experts on how to go about investing in art and the size of the art market in India and the likes. Today we're going to spend some time talking about how you can identify your artists and, more importantly, get to know them and their paintings. Sarah, good to see you again.
Thank you, Rahul. Welcome to this brand new episode of Artwise. As Rahul said, we're going to discuss how we go about building our portfolio when we start investing in art. And our panelists for today, we have Mr. Ashok Vajpayee, who's the chairperson of the Lalit Kala Academy. He's going to be with us from New Delhi. And right here in the studio, we have with us Mr. Ashit Desai, who is the director of HR for All Cargo. He's also just started investing in art very recently, just a few years ago. And there's also Mr. Prakash Gaba, well-known face in the market world. He needs no introduction here. But before we go ahead in this discussion, let's give you an idea on who are these modern masters and contemporary artist names that we are looking at when we talk about building a portfolio in art.
Investing in art begins with getting to know your artists. Just as in equities, you strive to build a portfolio of blue-chip firms like Infosys, Tata and Reliance. In art investments too, you create a portfolio of artists based on their attractiveness among investors and collectors and their resale value. Indian art is divided into three key genres: modern masters, contemporary artists and national heritage. Modern masters include S.H. Raza and Tayyab Mehta. These are akin to blue chip stocks, delivering consistent returns and commanding high valuations. Contemporary artists comprise Atul Dodia and T.V. Santosh, and these are like mid-cap stocks with volatile returns. National heritage includes works of legends like Jamini Roy and Amrita Shergill. These are masterpieces with limited supply, commanding phenomenal valuations.
Indian art is a relatively young collecting field. It had its first really major breakthrough in 2002 when, for the first time, a painting made over $100,000, a Tayyab Mehta, and then in 2005, again a Tayyab Mehta, Mahishasura, over $1 million, and now recently, in June, we achieved $3.5 million for Raza. This has also brought to the forefront Indian art in the whole world, along with contemporary artists such as Subodh Gupta, who's already enjoyed tremendous interest with Western collectors and been shown at Venice Biennale. So the interest is growing. There have been enormously important exhibitions worldwide. That's another thing. It's about education. It's about showing these pieces as well. So it is very clearly already established globally.
Building an ideal art portfolio could be a challenge for the uninitiated. New investors are often confused whether to invest in the promising young artists or stick to the well-established ones. However, at the end of the day, it may all rest on an individual's appetite for risks and rewards.
When it comes to acquiring artworks for, say, a fund or a foundation, I would really like to play it safe. I wouldn't take a risk and go and pick up an artwork of a person who's not known. So I would go with an artist who has a standing in the auctions, right? Someone who's been fetching good prices. I would always go with that. But even then, it has to be aesthetically someone I'm convinced about. I wouldn't just be able to go and pick up an artwork because the artist has been doing well at the auctions.
The key to investing in art is to be well informed of the choices and options. Knowledge about the artists and their body of work in terms of origin and historical significance helps in building an apt art portfolio.
Well, that's the backdrop for our discussion today. Mr. Vajpayee, let's start off with you. Just taking a cue from what we played out in that package, How do you go about selecting an artist? Do you look at credibility, track record, because you have the masters, you have the contemporaries, you have the national heritage artists. How do you simplify it for an investor?
Well, national heritage artists are very few, and their works are not readily available. Some works of Rabindranath Tagore, who's a national heritage artist, have become available recently, but they are far and few. So I think the choice is really between moderns and contemporaries. Now, I would suggest that perhaps a mixture of the two would be in order, because even among the moderns, there is a vast variety of works and a vast variety of styles and idioms and visions which are in play. On the other hand, among the contemporaries, they are the avant-garde, the people who are breaking the dominant poetics, who are doing something daring and interesting. And I think some of these contemporary artists, although they may not be featuring in the auctions so far, are a good buy, because eventually they will rise both in stature and hopefully in value.
Right, Mr. Vajpayee, I'm going to bring in Mr. Desai in at this point because he's just recently started investing in art. He started in the year 2008 when the market was so badly hit. Mr. Desai, what has your experience been so far? I mean, you started a collection by getting guidance from Kopal Art, but how did you go ahead and really believing what Kopal was suggesting at that point of time?
I think, firstly, I was not making a very sizable investment. It was going to be, 5% or less of my overall investment portfolio. So I was not taking a very big risk in whatever I was doing. Secondly, I have always been interested in art for years and years, except that it was never an investment option. So art for me was going to the museums, going to the exhibitions and having a look at it. I had been hearing a lot about art funds, etc. And here came a concept where I could invest into a portfolio of paintings, but also get the art at home to enjoy. And so that is what really appealed to me in making this particular decision.
Prakash, you are a market person as well. I mean, the one question you ask is, and as one of the guests was pointing out in the package earlier, is if you go with established artists, the price that you pay is much higher. How do you perhaps determine valuations when you pay for these artists? Because while you may get a Hussain or a Raza at a very significant price, do you actually look at identifying talent that could be and comes at a cheaper price? How did you go about doing it?
Actually, I started in a different way. I felt that I had to be in this business. I liked art. I wanted to decorate my home. It was more of an expense to me than it's an investment. It may turn out to be an investment over a period of time. I don't know. It's something like buying an Infosys at a point of time and waiting for it. If it grows, fine. Otherwise, it could be a silver line. So it was something more like that. Instead of going for an established artist, I felt that let's prod our way through it and let's go in for art that you like. Stay invested in it. Let's hope it goes. Even if it does not go up in value over a period of time, at least it decorates your home.
All right, with that, we're going to head into a short break. Don't go away. The discussion will continue on how you can build about your portfolio in art.
An appointment letter marks your entry into the corporate world. But what if the appointment letter that you hoped for was written by us?
I was a little surprised. I had no idea what to do.
हम लोग अब काम करने का तरीका अलग ही है जो उनको नहीं मालूम है.
Will Kapil Mantri survive the assignment?
Nokia and Bloomberg UTV present The Assignment.
Find out at these times, only on Bloomberg UTV.
Brought to you by Nokia, connecting people. In association with Geojit BNP Paribas, print partner Business Standard, magazine partner Business World.
Autocar India celebrates its 11th anniversary with an adrenaline-packed mega issue where the 170 bhp Skoda Yeti tears down the roads for the first time in India. BMW 7 Series dares Boeing 777 a race. Sachin's petrol head leaked. India's fastest man tests the world's meanest machines. Feel the rush with a DVD of the hottest car videos. Tank up on your copy today.
Japan, the land of the rising sun, a land which gave the world 2,000 years of heritage. Many high innovations and the finest workthroughs in automobiles and electronics. And one of the best it gave to the world is Sansui, the most innovative brand in television and audio systems for the last 50 years. India's fastest selling #1 Japanese brand, born in Japan, entertaining India.
वो पापा की गर्लफ्रेंड है क्या? नहीं पापा की कोई गर्लफ्रेंड नहीं है, वो मेरे पापा है।
Just shut up. तुम्हें समझ में आता है या नहीं? मम्मा पापा का डिवोर्स हो गया है। इसका मतलब पापा भी किसी से भी शादी कर सकते हैं, उसके साथ भी।
Today we are 6.8 million clients, and that we achieved largely in the last 5 years when we became a for-profit. It took the Grameen Bank about 30 years to do that. We do not believe this idea of a social business is the way to do microfinance.
5 crores? I am a technology enthusiast and I always like wearing geek t-shirts. So I want to build a portal where I will bring in all the possible companies which manufacture t-shirts on one platform. This is gonna be big. Give me the chance and I'll prove it to you.
अगर आपके पास 5 करोड़ होते तो आप क्या करते?
Brought to you by M3M India Limited, India's answer to designer living. Knowledge partner KPMG. Angel investors Mumbai Angels. Powered by Hindustan Times. Partnered by
Welcome back to this episode of Artwise. We're discussing how you can go about building your portfolio when you start investing in art. Now, I'm going to ask this to a person who's very much involved in the world of art in terms of aesthetics. Mr. Vajpayee, do you think it's really fair to differentiate masters as the blue chip and the contemporaries as the mid-caps?
Well, you know, it's not fair aesthetically, but it is perhaps fair business-wise. But I think what my two colleagues have been saying on the panel is of critical importance. You buy art or you collect art because you enjoy art, because you like having art around. That it is also an investment is a secondary matter. If you don't have a taste, if you haven't gone to the galleries, if you haven't kept a track of what's happening in Indian art, there's no point in your becoming an investor, because you will be a kind of a well-intentioned but ignorant investor. So the basic thing is to develop a taste.
Fair point. In fact, it's a good enough time to just take a look at another package as well that talks about the global art market, the opportunities available to India, and India's standing in the kind of projections that we're talking about for the art market going forward.
Analysts hold that the real value of the Indian art market is waiting to be unlocked. The estimated market cap of the top 5 Indian artists is in the range of $1 billion to $1.6 billion, whereas the entire Indian art market is valued at about $250 million, which is 15 to 25% of the market cap of the top 5 Indian artists. This suggests that the Indian art market has tremendous potential going forward. As the India story becomes stronger, a new focus on the country and its art will surely lift investments in Indian artists, just like the Chinese artists gained from their booming economy.
That's a very important aspect, and we can clearly see it with China and India, that once the economy grows so strongly, there's an identification in, you know, one's place in the world, and being able to buy back one's heritage and invest in it and embrace it fully, because it's a new pride of place. So with the Indian economy growing, there is no doubt, again, that the demand will grow, but the works, the masterpieces, are very, very scarce. It's a very, very limited availability. So that in itself will push up prices.
The global art market is projected to reach $65 billion by 2013, up from $41 billion last year. With this, the art market is likely to come back to pre-2007 levels when it was at its peak. For investors, This presents a mighty opportunity worth some $24 billion in just a span of 4 years. So what does this opportunity mean for Indian art?
Well, that's the kind of opportunity perhaps for the Indian art market. But Ashit, just taking a reference point from that, the top 5 or 6 Indian artists are, they're valued at $1-2 billion. Sure. Can you make a case of already the art market perhaps being overvalued and a justified perhaps position from a lot of investors to stay away from a lot of leading artists, if you will, because the price points are just too high?
I think this disparity is coming not so much from the ratio of what the masters contribute to the overall market, but the fact that so far this market has not been a very transparent and liquid market. So a lot of artists who probably have value, that value has not been discovered. And I think that is what is contributing to this very lopsided situation where you have masters contributing to a very, very high percentage of the... I don't think it's about overvaluation, because if you compare to the international markets, I mean, our artists are still really earning much low for the work that they produce. But I think the second and third level of artists are not visible. The whole market is not transparent enough that the real price and value is not getting discovered.
Okay, and as Mr. Machpai was just mentioning a short while back, a fresh investor does need to do his own homework as well. I mean, how did you go about doing your homework?
The way I went about building the portfolio, and I was advised by Kopal in that way, is that obviously I could not, because of the size of the portfolio, go in for the masters. So I was looking at the second level of artists. And I put almost 75% of my portfolio on not really upcoming artists, but reasonably established artists, not definitely the masters, but people who had a fairly good track record. About 25% of my portfolio was really a punt that I was taking in terms of whether they would appreciate or not. But since I was entering this more from my interest of art and having the appreciation of value more as icing on the cake than on the basic reason for my investment, I was comfortable investing in the upcoming artists, and I did really go by the recommendations of Kopal and others when I selected the second and the third tier of artists within my portfolio.
Mr. Vajpayee, is there perhaps a way of looking at a new breed of artists that come through each time that there is a correction in the market? I mean, from an equity market standpoint, whenever the market rallies and a few sectors take it up, and then there is a crash, you find a new set of sectors that takes the market higher. Do you see something similar like that in the art market as well, where new perhaps artists come in each time there is a correction, and they could perhaps be the masters of tomorrow perhaps? Is there a way of identifying that?
I don't know whether there is a way, except that this phenomena does take place, but whether it is a systematic way of emergence, I have no idea. But I would still say that the Indian art scene today is one of the most vital, energetic and dynamic scene perhaps in the world. Today, the real fury, creative fury perhaps of the younger generation is finding its expression best in the Indian visual arts. And therefore, it is the time for the Indian market or Indian investing agencies to look at this phenomena not merely with some wonder and astonishment, but also with a sympathetic eye and with a supportive hand.
I'm going to bring in Mr. Gaba at this point. When we're talking about this discussion here today, you really feel the world of art and the world of investment do match at some point?
From an investment point of view, yes, perhaps if you're looking at long term, because art to me, as I see it, is that you buy today and don't sell it tomorrow. Perhaps you buy today and give it to your grandson. Then perhaps it establishes its value manifold. At the same time, I would say, now at this point of time, after you've tested the waters, it is better to go in for established artists, because they in turn will value you more over a period of time than the new novice artist at this point of time. So there certainly is a correlation. It's like buying an A-grade stock today or buying penny stocks. The choices are with us. So there certainly is a correlation out here.
Ashit, do you want to comment on that? I mean, how do you basically value it? Is auctions perhaps the only way to go ahead and value it? Because you don't have fundamentals, you don't have earnings or anything of that sort. How much is marketing of a particular painting, and how significant a role is auctions to determine the actual value of an artist and a painting?
I think in the public domain to determine the value, the auction is definitely the best and probably the only way of determining the value of a particular artist. because if there are private deals which happen between an artist or a collector or a gallery and a collector, those numbers are not published or available in the public domain. So the auction does set the price level benchmark for you. Now, in terms of time frames, today, as I see it, and the 2 years that I've been studying art more from a financial perspective as well, I find that the masters will appreciate very fast. The absolute upcoming artists, which is a bit of a lottery, some of them may appreciate extremely fast, some of them may remain where they are.
Right.
And the mid-level artists will give you a steady rate of growth.
Okay, let's take another break on that note. Lots more to talk about and how to choose your artists when we come back in just a couple of minutes. Keep it here.
Mrs. and Mr. Arora, Mrs. and Mr. Guha, Divya और friends. ओल्ड एज होम के लिए मिस्टर खान अपना बहुमूल्य समय देंगे.
Give just about anything you want. For further information, call 044-439-24444. करके देखिए, अच्छा लगेगा.
TV technology goes from slim to the slimmer to the slimmest. Sansui presents the Ultra Slim series with DSP technology. Sansui.
मैं तुम दोनों से शादी करना चाहती हूँ. जब एक मर्द की 2 औरतें हो सकती हैं, तो एक औरत के 2 मर्द क्यों नहीं हो सकते?
Kumar Urban Development Limited and Bloomberg UTV present CXO Awards 2010, the IT chapter. Log on to cxotoday.com/CXO Awards or mail us at rsvp.cxoawards@bloombergutv.com.
Brought to you by Kulcerebrum SEZ Pune. Technology partner D-Link, building networks for people. Online marketing partner Fresh Rank, #1 in internet marketing. Knowledge partner PricewaterhouseCoopers. Community partner CIO Club, supported by TIE Mumbai, TIE Bangalore. Engagement partner cxotoday.com. Publishing partner Penguin India.
An appointment letter marks your entry into the corporate world. But what if the appointment letter that you hoped for was written by us?
I was a little surprised. I had no idea what to do.
हम लोग अब काम करने का तरीका अलग ही है, जो उनको नहीं मालूम है.
Will Kapil Mantri survive the assignment?
Nokia and Bloomberg UTV present The Assignment.
Find out at these times, only on Bloomberg UTV.
Brought to you by Nokia, connecting people. In association with Geojit BNP Paribas, print partner Business Standard, magazine partner Business World.
Welcome back. Still with this episode of Artwise, where we're discussing how to get to pick an artist and know an artist more importantly. Mr. Vajpayee, where does this leave contemporary artists and new artists? We've been discussing about the appreciation of the masters, the national heritage artists and their works. The big question is, if an investor is coming in, he's going to look for a fairly respectable price point to enter, and he's probably going to be targeting contemporary if you're talking about the average middle class Indian. Where does this leave them? Is there a value proposition here?
Let me put it this way. People who have limited financial resources had better trade in this very, very carefully. And after acquiring enough knowledge about what they are entering in the first place. Secondly, no point in entering the world of art if you don't appreciate art. The short point is that first start looking at art carefully and sensitively, and have a slightly longish experience. Those who are looking for quick returns, that they buy a work of art and 2 months later they will be able to sell it, they had better not come there. There are other areas of investment in which they could go. Art is a long-term project, both in terms of its creative dimensions and also its financial implications.
Right, Mr. Gaba, you're ready to give an investment that much patience?
In fact, yes. In fact, I would say that you buy art with an intention not to sell. You enjoy it so much that you want to keep it forever. That's the value of art.
What's a good time to profit book?
I think art is one more asset class if you look at it purely from an investment point of view. And you have liquid investments like stocks, which you can sell even on the same day. You have real estate, which certainly has a longer time frame on which you would trade if you treated it as a pure investment. And so is art. It has a slightly longer term investment time frame. You can't definitely compare them with stocks. So if I have to draw a parallel, I would compare art as an investment with the kind of time frame that one looks at real estate as an investment.
Right. On that note, let's wrap the show. I hope it's been an educational experience for you as much as it has been for us.
Absolutely. Thank all our guests for their inputs. We'll, of course, be back next week with more discussions and focusing on how to go about making money in art and if it's a value proposition for you.
Thanks for watching.